Okay, guys. We have more Team Barth, and as usual, I need a couple volunteers. Someone who's done eating. I love that Ned is always first. Thank you so much, Ned, for putting on shoes this time.
No problem.
I appreciate that. I realized, too, so we've handed out a few of these, and I realized that I hadn't read what the certificate says. And I'm just going to go ahead and read that to you. This Team Barth MVP is hereby awarded to, and I'll just use this first one as an example, Susan McCormick. In recognition of outstanding service to the Barth Syndrome Foundation. Signed in utmost appreciation of your tireless efforts, giving so generously of yourself to better the lives of those affected by Barth syndrome. So, again, the first one's for Susan McCormick. Michelle Flores. Michaela Damon. Huge Ackman. David Mann. Are you? Oh, okay. RJ Kugelman. He's over there. Lee Kugelman. Eliza McCurdy. Tracy Brody. Suze Osnos. Sheila Mann. Sharon Olson. Oh, there she is. And is Florence in here? And Florence. So the others that I have are not currently in here. But I'm going to go ahead and read them off just so you can congratulate them on in the hallways. So again, Michelle Flores, the wonderful BJ, Dylan and Ronley Mara, and of course my absolute favorite, all the Barth boys and men. And with that, I want to introduce my favorite Barth man, John Wilkins.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to say that my favorite non-scientific piece of knowledge I've learned today is that you can use your hotel key card as a shoehorn. Paula and Woody Varner were my beloved maternal grandparents and the individuals for whom the Varner Award is named. Although my grandfather passed away 8 months before our first meeting as the Barth Syndrome Family Network, both of my grandparents have had their hands in the success of BSF from that first meeting 16 years ago. My grandmother gave us our very first donation. She helped fund that meeting in my grandfather's memory. After that first meeting, my grandmother worked quietly behind the scenes for the foundation. She created the Woody Varner Science and Medicine fund and raise money in my grandfather's name. When she passed away 9 years ago, in July 2007, we changed the name to the Paula and Woody Varner Science and Medicine Fund. Like Shelley says, my grandmother believed in us before we believed in ourselves. Paula and Woody Varner represent the standard of what this award is for. We work outside our comfort zone if it helps the cause. We treat people with respect, kindness, dignity, love, and compassion, and we never, ever give up. In their honor, the Board of Directors has created the Varner Award for Pioneers in Science and Medicine to be presented at our biennial BSF conference. This award is to be given to a scientist or physician whose work has made a positive and lasting impact on Barr syndrome. It was the unanimous decision of the BSF Board of Directors that the 2016 Varner Award for Pioneers in Science and Medicine be presented to Dr. Michael Schlame. Dr. Schlame has been a steadfast champion for those of us affected by Barr syndrome for over 15 years. He is currently the director of cardiac anesthesia at NYU and an associate professor of cell biology at New York University School of Medicine. As a world-class lipid researcher and clinician in anesthesiology and cardiac intensive care, Dr. Schlame brings a unique and multifaceted perspective to the Barr syndrome community. There are many reasons why Dr. Schlame is deserving of the Varner Award for Pioneers in Science and Medicine, and I would like to share a few of those reasons with you today. First, his research has made a lasting and positive impact in the lives of those affected by Barr syndrome. Barr syndrome individuals have a defect in cardiolipin, which is one of the key manifestations of the disorder. No one has done more to understand what cardiolipin is and how it functions than Dr. Schlame. His excellent work has contributed greatly to the strong scientific base on which the more clinical work is founded. Dr. Schlame was the first person to receive an R01 research grant specifically on Barr syndrome. An R01 is a major, highly competitive grant from the National Institutes of Health, and he recently received a second one in 2016. He has published many of his research findings on Barr syndrome in top scientific and medical journals. At last count, there are over 80 publications from Dr. Schlame listed on PubMed, and he has authored or co-authored 35 publications about cardiolipin and Barr syndrome since 2002. Dr. Schlame has just published a seminal paper in the journal Natural Chemical Biology that may finally explain how cardiolipin dysfunction, uniquely associated with Barr syndrome, leads to cellular pathology and the eventual symptoms of the disease. Working with his colleagues at NYU and McMaster University of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Dr. Schlame has made another significant addition towards understanding how Barr syndrome and cardiolipin are related. In addition to his own scientific research, Dr. Schlame's clinical expertise in anesthesiology and intensive care have contributed greatly to the care of Barr syndrome patients. In the early 2000s, Dr. Schlame created anesthesiology guidelines for individuals affected by Barr syndrome. These guidelines have been used countless times by surgeons who are unfamiliar with the disorder, and their existence is a great comfort to those with the disease and their families. Finally, Dr. Schlame has contributed significantly to the work of BSF by spreading the word about Barr syndrome far and wide. Dr. Schlame serves as the current chair of the Barr Syndrome Foundation Science and Medicine Advisory Board and has been a member of the board's creation since 2001. He is a master collaborator as well as a superb ambassador for Barr syndrome and BSF. At scientific meetings worldwide, he has a knack for talking to other researchers and doctors about the disorder, piquing their interest in working on our complicated and fascinating disease. Despite his impressive resume, he is respectful, humble, and diplomatic. Matt Toth describes Dr. Schlame as a very dedicated researcher, making significant contributions to science while helping patients in his immediate care and the boys with Barth that he cares deeply about. He notes that Michael has the soul of a scientist. There is a quiet dignity about him with a humanity that is married to a bright mind, always looking for the best in people and the work they do. As Kate McCurdy says, Michael Schlame is a real gift to Barth syndrome. He is a dedicated physician and who cares very much about the delivery of excellent clinical care, but he's also a first-rate researcher who is intrigued by the underlying science of what he sees and who brings others along in his quest for solutions. He utilizes his thoughtful and precise approach and his brilliant mind to creatively analyze problems and get important results. In doing so, he continues to advance our understanding of our complex syndrome in a way that makes a difference to human beings. We are all indebted to his dedication, his determination, and his many contributions. On behalf of the BSF Board of Directors, I am very honored and pleased to introduce to you Dr. Michael Schlame, the 2016 recipient of the Varner Award in Pioneers in Science. Thank you. We have a bowl for you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So thank you, John. If you had said one more word, I would have left. I have to give the thank you speech now. This is not easy. I will make this very short. So I thank you for the award, of course. But more importantly, I thank you for allowing me to be a member of this community. And I think I speak in the name of all scientists that we are actually very grateful to be here. And as I had said before, this conference really is also a gift for us, really. It's, I've heard from many people saying that this is one of the highest quality conferences in the lipid field. And that is a huge accomplishment that you have all contributed to, and that is something that is not to be taken for granted, because there's an awful lot good conferences, scientific conferences around. So I'm actually very grateful to be part of this, and can say that over the years this has become one of the most meaningful things in my life. I like to pass this award really on to the people I work with in New York. As you know, these are Mendong Wen, Colin Foon, and Yang Xu. And among those three, I'd like to single out Yang Xu. I don't know where she is. Yang, can you stand up for a second? As somebody who had made a huge contribution to Barth syndrome that has gone largely unrecognized. I can say that in the many years I've worked with Yang, she is the one who developed many of the key ideas in our laboratory. And she is somebody who not only works tirelessly for Barth syndrome research, but who also has a very deep understanding of experimental details. And as all of the experimentalists here in this room know, the difference between failure and success in an experiment is about understanding the details. It is not so much about the lofty ideas, which is the basis of the experiment, but it's about understanding every little detail. And I like to say that Yang, over many years, has made an enormous contribution to Barth syndrome research. Thank you very much.